To enjoy this and other great episodes on Patreon, check out the link in the description and subscribe via the Black Kluge tier for full access to over 100 exclusive episodes. For those of you who would like some QF swag on Teepublic, t-shirts, magnets, mugs, what have you, also click on the link in the description.
Did it surprise you Allison got remarried as quickly as she did?
Yes, I did.
Did that bother you?
No. I was happy for her. But I was a little surprised.
He was saying goodbye to me, and he leaned in for a kiss, and I smiled so big that he literally kissed my teeth.
So I have admitted that I almost had a homosexual experience when I was young.
Yes.
Some guy came on to me. It was really wonderful, actually, but my mother would never tolerate me being gay. You know what I mean?
I got a guy now who's finding out the real names of the occupations of what the people do who bully me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm kind of a fighter, so... you know, it's just interesting when people have their kids on the air.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if a kid was a fuck-up, you just keep them quiet.
I put my kids on the air more, but they want no part of it. We do another contract here. Well, let's do a 3-hour show. We should be done right now.
Well, you're having this negotiation with me. That's the only problem.
Well, who am I supposed to negotiate with? Fred?
Tell that fat fucking cunt Robin to shut the fuck up. She can't stop mentioning that other fat cunt Butler. They're both fat cunts. They need to die in a fire.
I once saw my mother come out of the shower. It traumatized me.
Yeah, I can imagine. She looks like you.
She had some...
Sorry, that just slipped out.
Was you getting into music and guitar and all that stuff? Was that some kind of therapy because you didn't have your father? Listen, there are people who are at a job too long. They're not into it. They can't admit it to themselves.
A picture of you and her looks like a kidnapping. It's ridiculous.
Oh, you see, this is ridiculous. I was going to look for a Nikki Hilton. But you see, those good-looking rich girls, they don't go for a guy like me because they don't need my money.
Recipe for a perfect date night? Home, dinner, glass of wine, and the bed. Right? What'd you say?
Definitely a bottle of wine.
I said earlier I thought it was kind of weird that Jerry still dyes his hair. Like, you know, when your head becomes that big and, you know, whatever.
You got a little tough to hair.
You think the vanity would go out the window, but no.
I do have issues about people leaving. I want to control everyone in my atmosphere. I am a puppet master, and I want everyone to be a puppet.
But then we had our sex. We went right into this, like, even better.
Now, was it different?
It was great because when he was on top of me, I had my hands sticking up and it was
Oh my God. And she had a very hard orgasm from that.
Because I drive into Manhattan every day and I listen to it, okay? And if you cut out the bitching, it probably would be about an hour of broadcast.
You're right. Do you want to know something? Okay.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to QF, a podcast about Howard Stern. I'm your host, Fillmore, a.k.a. Jim Fix. And with me is Sam for the third and fourth parts of Hurricane Sandy saga. How are you tonight, Sam?
Oh, I'm so ready for this. We're going to get another storm, even though it's March, but it's not for Erie. It's going to be for the northern counties. So we got spared, thank God, since we had this blizzard already. And since a lot of people died from poor preparation and stupidity, I hope that this one goes better.
When you say died, it was strictly a matter of getting stuck in their cars? What was it like? You're talking homeless people stuck out there, not accounted for? What?
It was because they knew that this blizzard was coming and they didn't put the no drive ban until the morning of. So people were already at work when the blizzard started and had to drive home and got stuck.
Oh, shit.
I know.
Jesus Christ. So some of the stories are heartbreaking. The rescue stories are always good, but I mean, my God, you hear about some of these things. It's horrific.
Here's how mad I was, is they told us as Erie County employees who work in the city to stay home. So they were telling us to stay home, but they didn't issue the driving ban for private employers.
That's a screw up. That's a monumental screw up. That's something that you don't recover from, really.
I don't know how you're going to as an Erie County executive, but good luck.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, we're going to go right back into it. We hope you enjoy. I know a lot of people, this is their red pill moment for the Stern Show, and rightfully so. And all the right targets get hit. Bowie for his stupidity, and that's what you're going to hear. We're going to hear the return of Bowie. It's like now with more Bowie.
He loves punishment.
Yeah, and then you're gonna if you hate Shuli, there's a lot of it in here for you to unpack. If you hate Howard, there's of course crap loads. Robin, same. They're all loathsome, and it's like the zenith of the alpha, the omega of hatred. If you really want to go through it,
such ghouls. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, so we can't depend on Gary tomorrow. Let's see.
Am I allowed to talk?
Absolutely.
And when you say, Gary, do you feel guilty? I'm going to say, sure, there's some guilt. It's not an easy decision.
Gary, are we back on this?
But I want to say, it is.
Gary, I just wanted to know who's going to be
but
here.
It's not an easy decision to make.
Of course.
If I didn't
Gary,
care about the job, there'd be no guilt at all.
Gary, I'm trying to communicate with the people who can be here, who I can depend on to be here tomorrow. You're not part of that group now. I'm talking to them.
But of course there's some guilt involved.
Right.
It's not an easy
Gary,
decision to make.
Cared.
Well,
you just
then why do you keep bringing up
So Gary wants to be coddled. He's never going to coddle him in the way that Gary needs to feel reassured that he should be confident about saying, I'm going to stay at home and protect my house, and that's that. But instead, he keeps coming back for more abuse because he wants to have it on both ends. He wants to feel good about his decision with staying with his family, which obviously is the right decision. And he wants to also feel like Howard's okay with him staying with his family. But because Howard's such a prick, he can't handle it.
I was going to say he wants it from both ends. He's getting it from both ends right now. But I'm telling you this: the minute he started speaking and went back into this, I was immediately brought back to when we covered Tracy versus Gary and how he goes, "Oh, how am I supposed to deal with Tracy? Whatever." As an adult, in the office, you're supposed to be able to deal with this, as is your station, supposedly, if you're a real producer or if you're some kind of talent coordinator in the office. So this is no different. You should have the confidence in the job after so many years to go, you know what? I can take a day off. I can decide to do this for my family. My boss loves me. He supports me. But the exact opposite true. Howard doesn't love him, doesn't support him, and he knows he's always one fuck up away. And remember, keep in mind, guys, this is just pre-summit meeting. This is maybe within a year of the summit meeting. I think 2012? It's right in the middle of it's getting into the winter of 2012. The summit happens within a few months. And already we have to know that Gary knows something's underfoot. Something's not right at the station. He's mentioning GTD. And all of a sudden, Gary's very nervous about his fucking job. He's probably worried I'm getting let go.
He's exhibiting more insecurity than we've previously seen. It was always insecurity, but with a little bit of pushback and confidence, where this is extremely, what do you mean? Are you going to call? You're not going to call? Do you like me? You don't like me?
Put it up.
No, but why do you keep saying I'm talking to the group that can be here?
No, because you keep interrupting.
It's exactly like that phone call scene in Swingers.
Mm-hmm. Why must you do this every time I take a drink?
I'm sorry. Didn't realize you're going to pull a Danny Thomas.
I'm trying to talk to the people I can depend on to be here tomorrow. You understand? We now have to make plans.
I didn't say I wasn't going to be here.
You have to make plans.
It's not a given that I won't be here.
All right. Well, we'll see. We're looking forward to knowing. Wouldn't it be great if Gary ended up here and I didn't?
That's the worst part about this is Gary saying, oh, who knows? We don't know if I'm going to be here. Make a decision, you spineless jellyfish.
Yeah, obviously. You're bringing it on yourself. It really is like someone going, so thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah, I felt bad for him at first because Howard's such a cocksucker, but now forget it. You're bringing this on yourself. Make a decision and be a man.
Right, you're walking back into Harlem with that sign that says "I hate the N-word." I hate N-words, and all of a sudden you're expecting, oh God, I'm going to get treated differently if I go back for more, after you've just been beaten the fuck up.
He just has "kick me" written all over him, front and back.
Basically, that's a glutton for punishment.
That's what I'm going to do.
That's happened. Can I tell you? It's a fucked up thing. It was in 1992. There was a snowstorm that was unbelievable, right?
Yep.
Oh, I remember that.
And I came in, and nobody else came in, and I ran the best of tapes. And they shut the highway down behind me. I could see the police putting up the cones behind me as I was going.
Well, we could depend.
So what we understand now is that early on he had the fear of fucking Jesus put into him by this asshole boss that you come in with. If you're walking through corpses on the way to work, you still make it in there.
If I were Gary, okay, 1990. Listen to this panicked voice, by the way. 1992. Okay. But besides
statistical buoy.
In 1992, I was in a blizzard. It was so crazy. The highway was closed. I really think, though, I would say, remember 9/11? I stayed through the biggest terror attack our country has ever faced since Pearl Harbor.
On domestic soil, yeah.
No, it was like in the city that we work in.
Right.
I didn't go leave and gather my family and go to another state. I didn't shelter in place like with my family. I left them and I stayed.
Yep. And I knew then, but not now. I understand. All right. Thank you, Gary.
Times have changed.
Times have changed.
Go get security to get Gary out of this closed meeting.
Yeah, we're in a closed meeting. All right, Gary's gone. Now we can make our real plans.
What I really fucking hate about Shuli in this is he's acting like he's an insider. He's acting like such a smug cocksucker. No funny involved. Really, it's just about now doing whatever he can at other people's expense to make himself appear better. Whatever, just seem like some kind of taking the high ground here after he's abandoned his wife and kid, or his girlfriend and kid. I don't know if they were married at the time. I'm pretty sure they were. And then knowing he's going to upset the rest of the cast, rest of the crew, rather. This isn't a movie, but it seems like one.
It never ends.
Right, and he's going to do this because what's more important to Shuli is getting himself ahead as opposed to anybody else. So this is not a bro. This is someone you wouldn't trust to tie your shoelaces for you.
Well, when I was listening to this just now, it reminded me, Mia has play practice. She's in 5th grade, by the way, guys. So 2 girls were telling secrets and making another girl feel left out. This is what, and so she was telling me about the drama at play practice and how another girl felt left out and felt bad. This conversation she was telling me about reminds me exactly, oh, now we can leave, closed door meeting. Woo-hoo-hoo. You're in your 50s.
Yeah, pretty much.
Another 20 minutes on something completely different, and he went right back to it.
Right.
He's so rattled.
I made a reference that, Robin talked about this too. Every scientist in Italy now is shaking in their boots. The Italian government locked up a guy for 4 years because he didn't predict an earthquake. So now what these scientists should do is predict an earthquake every day.
That's right.
Because then you'll never go to jail.
Right. It's got to hit someday.
That's a weird thing to me.
Well, our weathermen should be on alert.
Right.
They should take that to heart.
Deathly silent.
So, as I said,
that fucking dead air. I mean, that's where Artie would be in with something. Shuli's just going there going, let me see. Let me get my seismology comedy bits out. Let's it's Italy, nothing there. Oh yeah, bong hits. Yes, that's my wheelhouse.
For all the time that Robin has to barely read news stories, maybe she could have learned some meteorology. For Christ's sake.
Well, keep in mind, guys, just to remind you, because it's been a while since the last episode of this, she's at home. She's recovering from cancer. So whatever, she's maybe not too swift on the uptake. But I'm wondering, do you think she has a visual at home? Or she must. In other words, like the disconnect that, you know how we do recordings. If we don't have a person's face, there's always going to be that awkward sort of bit of silence because they don't know when, like we don't know when they want to talk, so they might step over each other, that kind of thing. Do you think she has just audio? Because it seems like that.
It does seem like that, except for maybe Howard. But I'm not sure if she has it with everybody, is how I feel.
It could be, yeah.
That I'm going on Kimmel tomorrow if the weather permits. From what John Bolaris is saying, that Jimmy Kimmel will not be doing it.
Jimmy Kimmel is in question.
Yeah.
He can't depend on you.
Yeah.
Can he depend on you?
No.
Now, it is a big deal, like I said, for New York to get a hurricane is bizarre. It just is. So if you told me it's going to snow 3 feet, 5 feet, I'd be like, meh. But for a hurricane, I get it. It's a big deal. So that's why I struggle through this whole thing, not understanding how Howard doesn't understand rain and water is a lot different than just compacted snow.
Well, I was going to say, like, for snow, I imagine they're wired because a city that big has to have the infrastructure in place. Well, I presume, unless they have their shit, they don't have their shit together. That if there's a blizzard, they have all the snow plows, powered up, all the salt and dirt machines, ready to go, and whatever plows and stuff. The way most cities that have this regularly do. But you're saying that for the hurricanes, there's no real way to prepare for this.
Well, I'm sure there is if you were like a state like Florida where it doesn't snow. So you're not going to have snow plows, but you're going to have other equipment.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's why I was kind of a little amazed that he just is so meh.
Oh, of course not. It's a simple answer. I said to Gary, can I depend on you? You're a wolf. Marry the kids and leave it to the trees. Trees are falling on my house. I love my house. I love my house more than you. He just said the most insulting, jerky things.
My jukebox will be exposed.
He didn't have to. He didn't.
Yeah, he didn't say that. I love my house more than you. No, I said family. I know that word is foreign to you, Howard.
Yeah, really? Really?
It's not 2 daughters. You have 3. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Grandchild? What grandchild?
Oh.
He didn't have to say a thing. All he had to say is, no, you can't depend on me.
I said I love my wife and my family.
Robin asked me a question. Could Jimmy Kimmel depend on you tomorrow? I said, no. I didn't say I love my house. I love my wife. I mean, you're a fucking maniac. Please, go away. I'm in a closed meeting now with dependable people that I can depend on.
And pretend.
All right, thank you. All right, got it.
My house more than you.
I got it.
No, but
Okay.
Okay, now listen. Gary's trying to defend himself properly for a change. Now he's actually saying, if you listen carefully through that stupid goddamn Jersey rail mic that he uses in his office, he's saying you can't put. Hold on. You can't put words in my mouth just to fit your argument, Howard. And Howard's trying to do his best to stomp all over it because he knows Gary's going to come back at him correctly.
Well, of course, he wants to. He needs the narrative. Even though the narrative was just exposed as that's not what it is, it doesn't matter. He's going to drive that no matter what. And that goes for the history of Howard Stern, the mythology of Howard Stern. Everybody's leaving and why they left. It's always going to be, this has to be the narrative. It doesn't matter what the truth is. So we just heard what the truth is, and he steamrolled, like you said, right over it. And instead of letting him talk on a normal mic, it's...
Okay, a buddy recently, this is a little parallel. A buddy recently sent me a video of a guy breaking down the time that Carlos Mencia went in on the Bobby Lee show. Now, I can't, my feelings on Bobby Lee, so I don't need to repeat it. But the whole thing of it, because I'd never seen it, because I wouldn't pay attention. I hate Bobby Lee and I hate Carlos Mencia. So anyway, at the end of it, what you realize and what Bobby realizes for the first time, trying to give Mencia a chance to own up to what he did, you realize that this insane narcissist, Mencia, this insane narcissist will never see what he's done as being wrong. And that was Bobby Lee looking at it for the first time going, you know what? He gave me my start. I'm giving him an opportunity, but he has created in his own reality that people are jealous that I made it big and they didn't, and they tried to they torpedoed my career. They tried to because they were just jealous, and that's the narrative forevermore. Same with Howard.
That so reminds me, because I just watched a documentary of 5-part 1 on the Jussie Smollett thing, and the people who he knew in his life that were so disappointed that once it all came out, the fact that he kept sticking and changing to this fake narrative of whatever. It was obviously not true. And so it was bothering so many people he worked with, so many people who were producers they interviewed cast runners, they interviewed showrunners, and they were like, come on. I mean, own up to it.
You're busted. You're busted. You're out. It's done. You're caught.
Yes.
If Howard's the kind of guy with a smoking gun, bloody footprint, like if he was OJ, except OJ with a shitload of DNA all over him, like shitload of DNA evidence all over him, be going, what gun? What knife? What blood? What are you talking about? Not me. I wasn't there. He'd insist in the face of all that evidence. He'd be like, I don't know, Howard Murdoch. So anyway, let's keep going.
Okay, got it.
Acknowledge it.
Acknowledge it. I know.
Shit up.
Okay, good.
Hello, big screen TV. I love you.
I like when he looks at you and goes, I don't have a lot of homes like you do.
Yeah, all the anger came just pouring out of this fucking guy.
I don't have a palace in
Gary,
Versailles.
yeah, can I? You have staff. I don't have a staff.
He's right. You do have a staff.
I was going to say, fuck you, Shuli. It's not about how many homes you have. It's about how many people you have to maintain those homes, which are a shit ton. In Howard's case, he has an entire building staff.
And Howard has enough money that if he actually pulled a Lisa Left Eye Lopez and set fire to 17 Squabble Lane and like ignited a bunch of cats and let them run around and just blow the whole thing up, he could pay for another mansion without breaking a sweat.
1,000%. I wonder when he sold his stock options. I wonder if that created a run on the stock.
Oh, immediately. That was a year. It was a year after as soon as he could, he sold them.
Oh, good. Right.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
I don't have anybody. Just shut the fuck up.
That you have.
All right, good.
I have a staff infection.
Gary, I just asked. Jimmy's not mad at me. I just said he can't depend on me tomorrow. If there's a storm, I don't know that I can get there. I mean,
so you're being a dick. So you're being a dick, Howard. If Jimmy can't depend on you, then stop playing middle of the road. Say yes or say no or say I'll appear on Skype.
The other thing is Jimmy is a talk show host. Howard is the guest on the show. Gary is not anybody's guest. He's your fucking employee.
And currently we can only hear him through an aluminum fucking tube.
It's like, I don't know, man. Like I've heard I've heard kitty walkie talkies that sounded better than Gary's mic. And the other thing is I love about these videos, guys, when Gary's in repose, like they show the Gary cam, you always see him with that one hand outstretched, watching whatever, doing whatever on the computer. He's clearly not doing anything in his office while that's going on. There's no work that needs doing. He's not doing paperwork. He's not looking up anything. He's literally just playing fucking solitaire.
And that always bothered me because there's a million things he could be doing that are proactive.
Yeah, of course.
But, you know, let's just get him on the tin can like it's now and then and they're through the windows.
Full answer.
I can't believe I got to take shit, by the way, from Shuli, who almost got fired for missing almost a shitload of days.
Right,
Shuli?
Still attacking Gary.
I don't know
why you're
Gary.
I don't know why
I
you're
just
attacking
asked
me.
the question.
I'm here.
You're not getting
I'll
shit
be here
from
tomorrow.
anybody.
You're so brave.
Yeah, Shuli's like Samuel de Champlain. He's just freaking.
I love the hoodie on hoodie look, you fuck.
Well, yeah, honestly, he's full and he's well and truly prepared for a hard day's non-work inside the studio. And Benji, you don't hear. Notice Benji's right next to him. I know he's a joke writer, and you're not supposed to hear him, but you really don't hear him. You wouldn't even know he was fucking there. So where are the jokes coming from?
Well, Benji's not laughing. It's a huge indication of what a worm Shuli is. And the fact that the more this goes on, the stronger he feels to be this little fucking pest.
Mm-hmm. I have a family.
Anyway. No, Jimmy Kimmel cannot depend on me tomorrow. I don't know if I can get to Brooklyn. That's the answer.
Oh, so it's okay for him. This is great. We are just seeing right in plain sight a double standard. I'm not sure. Maybe. I can't do it. Maybe. I don't know. You're doing the same exact thing to somebody who's on primetime television. Nice.
And also depends on, guest, for their show, basically. And also considering he gave like Drew Barrymore shit at the concert for New York for not appearing because she was scared. A lot of people wouldn't go into the city immediately after the aftermath. They were worried there's going to be another one anytime soon. Whatever, lightning can strike twice. And then that was the infamous Paul McCartney going, Howard, that's not right. He was watching it on backstage, and he was giving Howard a little shit about it, as well he should have.
And she was actually smart because, they declared the air clean, much like Ohio right now at East Palestine. But, 10, 20, 30 years later, everybody's got cancer. So she made the right choice.
If your iron content is low, just step outside and breathe for a while.
Simple answer. Now, when are you going to tell Jimmy that?
I'm going to tell Jimmy right now. You can't depend on me. I don't know. Jimmy can't depend on Jimmy for the money.
I'm going to tell him right now, you can't depend on me. I'm going to tell you right now, don't expect a commitment.
Oh, man.
I'm telling you right now, definitively. Let me tell you right now, from the bottom of my heart, maybe.
I hope he hears this.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, let somebody else tell him.
Yeah, well, you got a wedding coming up. Imagine everybody RSVPs. Not sure.
And the same way he treated his 60th birthday. Oh, you didn't get an invitation, Wendy? Oh, I had nothing to do with that. What?
Number of people attending? Question mark. So, in response to your thoughtful RSVP, we've included 0 chairs at your table.
He is planning to record his shows as they have planned.
Oh, is that right?
He's going to go through with it.
Well, I'm going to make every effort. I'm going to make every effort. But what if a tree falls on my house?
What do I do then?
What do I do? What would you do?
He'd stand there and stare at a fucking tree on his house.
Look at what Jimmy's doing. Jimmy's bringing along a backup generator.
Well, his house in California is not...
He's abandoned.
He is not in the path of Sandy.
He has more choices.
He's flying out the crew early.
I don't have the choices you have.
I haven't taken one phone call.
No, how are people faring in this weather?
How are you faring?
This person's underwater.
Yeah, I won't bother him. James, go ahead. You're on the air. Rain hasn't even started. He's under.
Dominic.
Yeah, he's definitely not on fire.
Let's go to the
No, rain has started.
What's that?
Let's go to the Foxwoods Casino.
Yeah, big time.
Oh, it has?
Yes.
Hello?
Uh-oh. Mary, I'm coming.
Call me as soon as the first drops hit.
Uh-oh. Lucas, get the chainsaw out for the tree that's going to fall. And the other thousands of scenarios.
Oh God, man! You know, when he does that impression of Bowie, he would always do that with his teeth. But now that he's got those fucking awful caps in, it's like some cadaver you're working on his jawline.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like a hospice person who is forgetting how to put their teeth in correctly, and they're just speaking with dry mouth, and a nurse hasn't gotten them water in 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
There he goes. I'm coming, Bob, who I don't love so much.
How about the expressway? Has the tree fallen yet?
I'm monitoring with John Bolero.
They're putting cones up as I drive.
They're closing the bridge behind me.
Crickets.
Uh-oh, just made it through. Doug Goodstein's home.
Yeah,
waiting.
Feet up.
Yeah, right.
And this is how you know he has fake teeth. So when he is doing these impressions of Bowie, this is how you know he has fake teeth. When you listen, it's this phonemic awareness where you know what it sounds like when your mouth, your tongue pushes up against the roof of your mouth, or your teeth, the sounds that it makes. You can just hear in the microphone, it sounds like his tongue, and when he speaks, it's pushing up against a foreign object. You can just hear that. It's not his mouth. There's something in it.
Because the new dentures are different from what he used to have. So he's not able to. I'm trying to think of comparably like Marley Matlin, for example. Any deaf person who learns how to speak and learns how to lip read, but because they've never heard what their own voice should sound like, they're only going based on a long time of studying it, but they don't know exactly how it should sound because they've never heard it.
They don't know what it sounds like. Take it like a Godfather when he put the napkins in his mouth. And his entire speech sounds different, right?
Yes.
You can just tell when he does the impression later on from Gary, from when he originally does it, there's something that's in his mouth that is foreign. It's not right.
1 second, let me see if I can get it because I have it here, and now I'll just mark it over. 1 sec.
Getting excellent reports on you.
So that was with his new dentures.
That's great.
One more time, guys.
Getting excellent reports on you.
Excellent.
It sounds like he's speaking into something, over something, pushing against something, but it's not normal. It's not the organic things that are in your mouth.
I was going to say, wouldn't it have made more sense for him to get the dentures way earlier and then have that time to practice it because and get maybe he have to take lessons on how to pronounce with those new things.
I don't know what he exactly got. I mean, people get different teeth, like caps. I don't know what he got exactly, but it has to be, I think, different than just regular caps because it sounds like an entire new device in his mouth when he speaks. I think
he literally got his entire top teeth, his entire plate removed, and got new chompers completely because his teeth were so horrendously bad.
They were very mice-like.
Yeah, they were jagged. They were dirty. I mean, he did say he was a smoker early on in his life. You can't do anything with those fucking teeth if you go 3 packs a day, if he claims to. Even if it was just 2 packs a day for years at a time, your teeth are fucked. There are whitening techniques they can do at the dentist, but most of them will eventually just say, look, they're jagged and they're discolored. Let's just give you new fucking teeth.
I think there are aesthetic things you can do now with white lights, lasers, and different beauty techniques now. But at the time, I don't think there was anything that was going to help him. Plus, it doesn't change the shape of those small teeth.
It was funny because when he said when he got a nose job, he was worried it was going to change how he sounded. I'm like, you're already a fake modulated piece of shit. What's the difference of adding another setting there? But it is true what he mentioned years and years ago. But when he had a mustache, his vocal teacher told him, you have to lose the mustache because people who have facial hair involuntarily change how they pronounce things because they're worried about how they look. Because they see themselves, in the mirror and stuff, and they're conscious of a type of movement that they think looks like shit.
That's interesting. I was wondering too, since we know he did something with his jawline and his chin. I wonder how that impacted the way he spoke. If he was self-conscious, or if it prevented his mouth from moving a way that he used to do, but maybe it impacted that.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so many things.
Yeah, the tendrils might have banged off the microphone, making metallic sounds. I don't know that. I think the teeth was the biggest hurdle for him to get past, and to this day, he's still fucking things up. Me and Raven, we talk about it all the time. P's, Q's, hard consonants are his biggest enemy, and carbs.
That's very true. Good point.
And vagina.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, it looks dark outside.
It's getting darker by the minute.
It's dark.
So bad out.
Mary, there's a roadblock. I'm going through it.
Gary, serious? And I'm being serious. You should leave now. And I'm being serious. Gary.
The rain has started.
Gary, the rain just started. I'm serious. Go home.
I don't need to leave now. The rain's not a danger.
No, but seriously, go home now because it could rapidly get bad. And I'm being serious, and I'm
He's not being serious. He's being a bully.
He's basically trying to egg him on. He wants more of Babooey on the radio. It's much like all those assholes in the Dabbleverse want Stuttering John desperately to come back so that they can goof on him some more. But he's finally doing something smart, that wet brain idiot, and he's staying away.
I didn't even know what a Dabbleverse is until you told me. I had not a clue. I was like, what the fuck is the Dabbleverse?
It's a whole cottage industry. A bunch of podcasts came up, including Shuli, that, he wasn't getting any hits on his channel, wasn't getting any patrons. So he decided to copy who are these podcasts and go after Shuli. You don't remember this? Go after Stuttering John.
But I didn't know that it was something called the Dabbleverse.
Oh, I see. Yeah, well, that was just all based on something Chrissy Mayer said about Stuttering John in the middle of an interview.
I will say, if I were Gary, now this is on him. It's time to get up and go. Fuck off. Why?
Yeah, just literally have an empty. What was that thing we said? Mike Ganji should have just walked in, farted as he left.
Yeah.
Hot box him
in and bye.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what's a good time to leave? I have more things to do
Sure,
here
I
today.
think you're being irresponsible.
Your home's getting wet, Gary.
Yeah, there could be flooding already.
Mary, stop building an ark.
Yeah, Mary's building an ark all by herself.
Get 2 animals, 2 by 2.
What if a window is open? Who's checking the windows? Mary?
Uh-oh.
Of course.
Yeah, well,
Those
I don't know
are
that
easy.
she's capable.
If you see a wicked witch of the West, get away.
She's pedaling by the window.
See, I didn't go home. And Mary
Surrender,
ended
Baba
up.
Booey.
Mary ended up in Oz.
She's with the tidbit.
So seriously, go home now.
Well, with a trampoline.
Gary, go.
No, that's a callback to the first episode or second episode we did. The trampoline.
It's true. It will blow away.
Oh, Christ almighty.
Home.
I'm not ready to go home.
You should.
I could be dependent on to finish the show today.
To do what, though? You're dependent on to be the punching bag. Get up, you fucking leave.
This is an amazing angle. How often do you see this where you see his notes in front of him, papers all over? Look at the size of the font there.
He's got the New York Post.
He's at New York Post, some binder that looks like something out of, the Warren Commission, and then some other emails presumably being typed. I can't zoom. The resolution's as good as it's going to get, guys. If zooming's not going to
3-ring
help us.
binder. What is he, the press secretary?
Casey.
Right.
Oh my.
No seriousness. Go. He thinks I'm kidding, and I'm not.
I understand.
If you're gonna risk going home,
Getting things done. Look at all the papers that we just saw.
Get ready. That's a precursor to all the stick-it notes, oversized stick-it notes in the den. Red rum.
I think he should go home now because it could rapidly get bad.
At least he can get out now.
Right.
I think I have a pretty good idea. I mean, John Belair said the worst of it is a 2.
Well,
You don't have to wrap up
he
show
could be a little bit
He
wrong.
could be.
So we just got a little look. Remember when you said, do you think they see Robin? They don't. It's Howard that sees Robin. Nobody else does.
So that monitor, maybe the monitor on the right side of him, that's Robin.
I think that that only he sees Robin, because I can't, from that angle, a couple of times I've looked, I can't see anything in front of the other people, and they're not looking in that direction either.
Yeah.
It's not an exact science.
Hurry home. Right now. I'll be upset. I'll be worried about you sick all day. Yes, James, you're on the air in Franklin Square. Are you safe?
Are there white caps in the bug bath?
What if there's flooding and a tree on the house?
And we have to identify the tree.
At that point, I would just abandon ship, right?
Yeah, like what are you gonna?
Absolutely.
And emergency services are not going to get there right away. They're not going to get.
No,
just get to the
Gary's acting
window.
like he can get the tree out there himself.
Shuli just said, and emergency services are not going to get there right away. Yeah, that's why I should be there.
Well, Shuli's right in the Howard, what daughters camp, what wife.
I mean, yeah, good. You just made my point for me. Emergency services will not be there.
Yeah.
So...
tearing sheets. We need tourniquets.
Put glass under my gums. Oh, no, that's Mr. Ed.
Tape the windows and my teeth.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Fillmore, a Mr. Ed reference. We are so low.
Well,
man.
It's it's funny though when I forgot about him putting the Sharpie in the mouth when he's doing Gary's voice, which is really just stupid laziness. But it reminded me of Martin Short on the Tonight Show when Johnny was asking him, "How do you do your Jerry Lewis impression?" He goes, "I just try to think as though I'm speaking with a lozenge in my mouth." That's exactly what Jerry sounds like, perpetually chewing on halls. Anyway, or sucking on halls. If you see it, it's fantastic. It's the same episode where Betty Davis is next to him and she's not impressed. And he's doing some fucking killer impressions. Maybe the best, not his movies aren't so great, but Martin Short may be the best talk show guest of all time. It's true.
I live 2 times away from Goodspeed. It's not bad at all.
There you go.
Not bad at all out there, kid, is it?
Well, I'm worried about Gary getting home.
It's not bad. We just played a CCTV video in our first episode of what the timeline was. And by 4 o'clock, buildings were collapsing.
Oh my God. And you look at this thing. So like picture if it was a rural area, it spreads out more. There's soil to soak it up. It's a concrete jungle of compact buildings.
Before the tsunami hit in 2004, before it hit Indonesia, you could actually walk out quite a bit, into the ocean and then not suffer anything, guys. That's the call we need to make.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of hanging onto palm trees for a day.
I love when Jay Thomas was in studio and he goes, not a fucking goat died, not a dog died. They sensed it and they ran up fucking hill. People were like, hey, look, there's more shallow now.
And so look at Howard. What does he have to worry about? At the what floor? The penthouse floor?
Yeah, no kidding.
What are your parents doing? You talk to them yet?
Yeah, I called my mom last night.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what can I do for my parents? They're in their house and stuff, and I go, Mom.
Oh God, that's gonna be so good when we actually. I've got the thing actually from. Yeah, like he doesn't mention, this is key, guys. We don't have audio of him. I don't believe, I have to check. I don't think there's a lot of audio of him taking in his parents, but I do know that when he does mention them, he's fed up with having to put them up. But they were at the library, whatever the library was. His sister was out of power for like 4 days or something, and he wouldn't take her in.
This interests me to no end, so we have to play this because, first of all, you and I are close with our parents. How fast, if you were rich, if there was a hurricane, would you take in your folks? Without
Even if
question.
Whether I was rich or not, that's the first thing I would be doing. Like, are you guys okay? How are you guys doing?
Of course, but I'm saying if we're living the same class of people down the street, we're both going to be fucked. But, we're going to check on each other. What I'm saying is, why wouldn't you offer that to your family right away?
What family? Who are you talking
Howard.
to? Yeah, family. I was born out of dust.
I can't hear you so good. I was on the cell phone, forget it. Then there's no communication. I go, okay, I'll be quick. Are you okay? Of course I'm okay. Well, I'm worried about you in the storm. Are you prepared? Do you have things? I mean, what should I prepare? Your father.
Oh my God, this bothers me so much. When I think of what I would do for my parents, I'm going to pretend I'm him, okay? So I'm not saying myself. If I were him and I knew this was coming, I would have backup generator after backup generator. I would have everything weatherproofed. I would have just anything. I would grocery shop for them. I would make sure they have all the medicine they need, make sure there's no possible way they could lose heat or electricity, whatever. But even say that fails, if everything's getting really bad, I would make sure there's a way that they can come to me and I'm going to take care of them, have their room set up, have everything they need, a second supply at my house. Bare minimum.
That. At that house, how many kitchens in the Hamptons anyway? In Florida, certainly. How many kitchens must he have in the house? At least 2 or 3. And then you could stock a whole wing with things like non-perishables for his parents, and have every medical thing they could ever want. You just literally tell the pharmacist, look, I just need this stuff to stockpile for when they get here, if they have to be here, that kind of thing. I don't want anything to go to chance. You have all that money. You could literally do it and look away and not remember you had it, and it wouldn't set you back that much at all.
He wouldn't even notice. It's a flea on his shoulder. It doesn't matter. And he could have his assistant get everything prepared. Just say,
you got it.
Spend whatever, do whatever you want. By the way, after this, they were more worried about cats and pets than the parents and people. Just the fact that they even had to go to a library is the most despicable thing I've ever heard.
This is the timeline, guys. So this was all happening like Monday, Tuesday, what have you. And then it says, this is from Uncle Larry, who's also on Twitter. So I get his tweets all the time when the show is live. Good thing the show didn't mention Howard's sister, Ellen, lost power for nearly a week before she was invited to his mansion. A number of folks saw her Facebook timeline before it was edited once she was in Chimney Manor. Thursday, 1:56 p.m. Hi, everyone. Thanks for your concern. We lost power Monday night and still waiting for it to return. I'm at Belmore Library using their Wi-Fi. Nights are the hardest, but at least we have been able to find restaurants that are open. Take care.
What?
Friday.
Fillmore?
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Why, in God's name, wouldn't you take your family in? What piece of shit.
Friday, 3:17 p.m. Hi, everyone. Still no power, but getting creative. Guess we will do the same tonight. Thank goodness for libraries. Stay well, everyone. I really appreciated your comments. So it's now almost like the full work week is gone. And almost done, and she's still at a fucking library. Sunday, Claudia, wonderful to hear from you. Peter drove me to my brother's house, so I'm nice and warm. It sure feels good. Glad things turned out okay for you. Take care.
Oh my God. I'm not saying that people don't normally suffer like this during catastrophes of climate and weather, because they do, but not people who have multi-millionaire families in the same city.
Yes. Once in a lifetime type wealth.
You have to be kidding me that he made her cut it out at a fucking library for multiple days freezing.
So, okay, so this is my point. An emergency like this that affects your fucking blood sister, your full sister. And okay, now if we this would all be a moot point if we knew that he and she didn't get along, but we know they do. We know that they don't have any problems.
She's never said a bad word about him.
Never. So take that off the table. Anybody, because there's someone on our YouTube channel talking about Howard must be a decent guy because he's never been busted for Me Too. By that rationale, Jimmy Savile should be canonized.
I saw that comment. I go, you don't know Hollywood very well, do you?
No, I guess not. So anyway, so you've got this guy. So if he wouldn't put up his fucking sister and her family, with all the space he has, he could be at one residence. They can be at another. He has 3 places they could possibly go to. Number one. Number two, do you really think it's beyond Howard to not donate a nickel to his dying cousin who he claims to love, who is dying of cancer, the gay one, Stacy? And people like his daughters and his wife, his ex-wife, donated to the guy, and he had a GoFundMe, and he let him fucking die. Then went to his funeral. And then donated something to fucking North Shore Animal League.
That's so wonderful.
Do you put anything past him? It's like after covering this Murdoch trial and this Murdoch case with Kayla, I'm thinking to myself, this guy, this character, Alec, whatever, was convicted of shooting his son, Pawpaw, and Maggie. Do I really think that Howard is beyond doing this if shit got really thick? No, of course not.
If he lost all his money, yeah, he would. I truly think that.
That's right. And it was about to come out, and everybody was going to know, like, certain things were going to come out.
Yeah, the whole thing was unraveling. If his whole thing was unraveling, I don't put it past him for 5 seconds in the same position. But I do think for his money, if you don't want your sister at your house, do you know how many rich people probably left their homes to go to warmer climates during this time? Just rent a house from the Hamptons, rent a house from anywhere, and put them up wherever the fuck you want. This isn't like we're looking at it in terms of what hotels available, what's available on regular people. This isn't regular.
But I mean, if you didn't want to deal with her at all, literally just spend $2,000 on whatever hotel for a week, for 7 days, or whatever it takes, and tell her, look, here's my checkbook. It's on me. Find a place, go to the Sheraton, whatever, stay there a week, get all the food. Here's a restaurant, whatever. Here's a credit card, whatever. Just tell them it's on me.
The library with cots is essentially, I know everybody have seen those arenas during Katrina where they're all sitting like, side by side. It's essentially the same thing, except for it's a library.
Yeah. Like the lambdas in Revenge of the Nerds in the gym. Here we go.
When I went out, we have water. Look, if the power goes out, that'll be terrible.
but we're fine. I mean, what can we do? I go, I know. I just feel like I should call you to pretend like I'm sort of interested.
Like at
least he's being honest about that.
Just shove them off a cliff.
Yep. So keep in mind, guys, this is literally 10 years before he gives the eulogy from hell to Ben Stern and is still shitting on him.
And this is our recent episode where Benjamin pointed out, the parents would pack him up city to city and set it up for him as a 27-year-old grown man. So they have done everything for him, paid for college, paid for a car, moved him.
Fed him, clothed him, got his clothes, helped him buy lingerie for his wife.
There's a hurricane. Good luck.
Well, if you're Ray right now and you have your faculties, you're thinking, why didn't I put some fucking cyanide in one of his goddamn peanut butter sandwiches over these years?
I'm sure it's likewise.
Oh, yeah.
Prepared to do something.
Like, what can I do? If a tree falls on, I love my parents, but if a tree falls on their house, what can I do?
Nothing.
I'm not going to what am I going to go out there with a chainsaw?
No.
I would, bull.
Like, does Daddy really guard his house? I mean, what is...
From looters.
Like,
He has-
neighbors, guard the houses, too? I mean, do they, take turns?
I know Gary has web cameras on his house at all times. Like, he can go online and see his house.
What if our address falls off the house? Then we won't know where we are.
I'm constantly monitoring you.
Yeah, okay, so Shuli, he can see his house, and then what? Then what? You're going to have a great ticket to see the tree fall into the side of the house and watch water being poured into the fucking den. And then you go, hey, you know what? At least I can see it on my computer. Check this out, Shuli.
It's going to look like Poltergeist when the tree attacks the little boy in his bed.
No word of a lie. This is the second Poltergeist. It was going to be a Poltergeist mention, but Kayla on the recent Murdoch thing we recorded, she said that the grandfather going into the hospital looked just like the old man in that black suit in Poltergeist.
Number two, that guy scared the shit out of me. I had nightmares about that guy. But Howard's saying, "Oh, the address fell off. I don't know where I live." Yeah, no, you wouldn't, because you're an idiot. You need only straight lines and a limo driver to get you where you need to go.
And a Sherpa.
We're monitoring. That's a good thing, right?
You would think they would do something. Beanie's like the Paul guy now, you know?
Gary has a crossbow now.
You got me.
Look, he's got a crossbow.
I'm back like an asshole.
Why are you back?
Would you go home? You know what? You threw the asshole hook in the water, and I fucking bit on it. And you reeled me in.
Gary, seriously, go home.
You did. It was dangling, and I go, I'm not gonna fucking bite on it. I'm not gonna bite on it. Here I fucking am.
No.
Instead, he should have came up and said, "Here I am, and here's what I have to say about Shuli." Why are you such a pussy? Start mocking the fuck out of Shuli.
Right at this point, you've got like an arsenal. You've got like a 16-page stack of fucking 8x4, whatever 8x10, photos of their assholedom in front of you, and just use every one of them. Throw it in their face. You're going like, fuck, yeah, Shuli, yeah. Listen, I know you paid your dues. How do you enjoy being on mic for no extra money for this shit? How do you feel that you're Howard's, complete step and fetch? At least I'm getting paid to be here.
Are you warm under your giant hoodie and hoodie over it?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Name one person on Liverpool. No, the thing is, and Howard, yeah, basically, like the best thing would be they go to that fucking Gary mic and there's no one there. It's just that stupid microphone, or there's a sign saying "Be back Friday."
That would have been way better. And what a kick-ass way to say "fuck off." I would also say, Shuli, I know you're trying really hard because Artie's gone.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. See, this worked out well, didn't it?
No, stop it. And I'm serious. If you are going home, you should go now.
I'm fine.
All right.
I'm fine.
I'm worried about you.
I feel like I'm watching a symphony in progress.
No symphony.
And I'd say there, as annoying as Jackie was, even he did a better job filling airtime. So,
fuck yeah. Jeez,
not sure
Christ.
what you're doing.
God, I'm still laughing when we covered the Cleveland book signing. He said something like, she had nothing to do that morning, did she?
And then he goes, "Didn't you got back Sunday?"
I'm exhausted. You got back Sunday, then you took in a fucking play.
I'm exhausted. When did you get back Sunday?
Oh God, it's like a car that's perpetually on a quarter tank all the time.
Forever. You're always praying to God that you make it.
No matter how much you put in, it's always a quarter.
Every time it goes green, you're like, please.
The speedometer never goes past 10.
You're always seeing the fuel light low.
Yeah, exactly. Service.
If I were Gary, I'd say Jackie's laugh fills up more than anything you're doing right now.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Actually concerned. I'm just trying to figure out what to do tomorrow. What?
Isn't he a kind of person? Like, you would think they would take care of him now that he's a big shot in Connecticut.
I got to go because no one can understand a word you say.
He said now that I'm a big shot. They're going to drop the other 60,000 houses and just focus on mine.
Right. LJ, you're on the air. That's LJ over in Comac, Long Island.
Hey now, first time, long time, Howard.
You better stay in your house with Doug Goodstein.
Just wanted to thank you for always making it out, staying on for 9/11, being there.
I love how Howard really looks like a weasel when he does that impression. Did you see those teeth when he does it?
Yeah. Right. He looks like he's just completed the fucking dam. I mean, there's all manner of shit, I suppose, that you can get from this saga. Like, guys, like I said, it's a one-stop buffet of cringe.
He looks like the puppet from Full House when Joey Gladstone would get the beaver.
I thought you were going to say he looks like Alf. No, the thing is, we've got so much more to go through, guys. But keep in mind that this is more of we discussed it, you and I did, about the disconnect between Howard TV and the regular staff, like the on-air staff. I mean, I know Howard TV was on air as well sometimes, but they weren't supposed to be generally. So the disconnect, that's something that we definitely got to ask about the next time we interview Richie, because they're like, whether they wanted to have synergy or not, the difference between the two worlds was clearly vast. And I don't know if it was just a money thing, a blue collar thing, or strictly you can't trust these other fucking people. Like, we're working guys. We're not going to throw anybody under the bus if we don't have to.
So I think it's a collaboration of everything you just said, depending on the times of year and when we're talking about. I think there was times where they felt collaborative in a team. I think there were times where they felt unsure and an outcast. And I think there were times where they're like, I got to watch my own ass, and we're totally separate. It just depends on what was happening with the show. But this is all because of the way Howard left it ambiguous for a lot of it.
Yeah. So, yeah, make a note of that. When we go to interview Richie, we definitely got to go heavy on the Hurricane Sandy thing, because this is one thing I could not. This is our new 15 foundation, guys. Sorry.
But Howard didn't leave it ambiguous.
No.
When he wanted to pay them, when it was contract time, certain things, he was definitely like, you're not the show. When it comes to your insurance, when it comes to your benefits, when it comes to pay, anything else, take it up with E. But then when it comes to, I want a different position in life and I need a recommendation, you're unloyal.
Yep. Sorry, disloyal. But you're correct. The idea of this era, this Marcy Turk thing being as stressful as it must be for Gary, I can only imagine what it was like for the E crew. Not knowing what their contract situation was going to be like. However, the way Sussy explained it, they did 5-year deals too. So I imagine a lot of them were thinking, well, I've still got another 3 years. It's only 2012.
But they're depending on him to sign too.
Yes. And he has just re-signed. But also the other thing is he's still doing, I don't know if the appeal is still going, but he's still appealing his lawsuit, the judgment that he lost against Sirius, and are they going to can him as a result of it, leaving them in the lurch as well?
And I'm sure there's whisperings of apps being developed, tech being developed.
And jobs maybe being lost because we don't need this much shit. We don't need this many staff to run this camera, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I think there's a great, huge upheaval in addition to the GTD thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
912 coming in today.
You can depend on me.
What's up with Gary?
That sounds like
he used to be so dependable. Why can't he go home now?
Well, he has concerns that trees are going to fall in his house and there's going to be flooding. So he's
But no, he said, why can't I go home now? And then what?
He should go now.
And then what?
And get your generator out if that's the problem, or go home, get your wife and kids, and come to the hotel.
That is Sour Shoes for sure.
It is Sour Shoes. That's totally him. I can tell when he said that last thing. You can tell. He has this certain, when he does impressions, there's an accent and an echo almost in his,
Why don't you leave your house in Comac and just
why don't both you guys cut down all your trees now so they can't fall on the house?
And by the way, it's not just trees. There's a lot of different things that go on. For instance, there's leaves and the gutters get filled up. Like last storm 2 weeks ago, I had to go up on the roof with a ladder.
I'm going up with a ladder for the storm.
Again, even if he were to pick up his family and go to a hotel and leave his house, well, what if during this you need something for your house? Like, I'm not going to have my house extra ruined because I'm not there for this bullshit.
The way Howard sees it's like, listen, a power line severed and the whole wing of the house is on fire. Fuck it. I'll get there on Wednesday.
Like, they were actually in studio during 9/11 and it happened. So, okay, it was great and brave that they stayed. That's amazing. But they were already there. This is something completely different.
Yes, and don't forget, guys, multiple times Howard asked Tom if he could leave.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let's not whitewash anything. And I don't know that we'll ever do a 9/11 show, but I would like to isolate those clips. Don't you think it would be too much of a downer?
No, because I think it's an interesting, it's interesting to see how the show was then. And I think it's just interesting perspective of how things were then. It's a good time capsule, how different it was. And I also really think it's interesting, the callers, because they were so real. And remember, there was nothing, a lot of the satellites were on top of the World Trade Center. So there was only a few things in media in New York City running live that survived that could actually play during this, because everything went down.
I think if we did some kind of truncated version, like we took specific clips of the day of, but also the KC stuff, like they mocked him constantly for leaving. Yeah, geez, go figure. Who wouldn't? Except, and Howard clearly wanted to leave. KC just managed to do what everybody else was thinking. And Scott, the engineer, the whole bowling thing and all the other stuff surrounding it. I think
maybe because
selected
you're Canadian.
Segments. Yeah.
Maybe because you're Canadian, but I really think that Americans, we look back on that, and even as some weird things were, it is a cool thing to revisit. I do think that. But I want to know the audience's opinion. Like, if you want us to revisit it, let us know.
Yeah, guys, in the comments section, anybody who's interested, I may even put up a poll up anyway, but because the thing is, like, we knew the Fan 15 Foundation would go long, but we were interested, and we knew enough people would be interested in the whole arc of the thing. Like, by the time it was over, they go, oh, that's why they covered this. So that would make full sense by the end. But when the building's fully constructed, so to speak. With 9/11, it's diffuse. It covers a lot of things. And it also is not just the day, the next day, the week. It actually goes on for months, more or less, because they can't get guests coming into the show because of it. There's still a lot of news reports or whatever, and then it suddenly becomes war coverage. You know what I mean?
I mean, of course, you got to push that propaganda machine.
No kidding.
I do think, though, that they were. It's unique in the sense that a lot of shows took off where they stayed on, so a lot of people didn't know how to talk. Especially like talk show hosts and late night show hosts after this, they didn't know when is a good. I even remember like Buffy episodes in Dawson's Creek were like shoved off for weeks. Like, people didn't know how to return to normal programming, regular scheduled programming. Like, nobody knew how and when was a good time. But Howard stayed on, and even though it's awkward in some ways, it's interesting.
I think so. There's people also, if you recall, guys, the roast of Hugh Hefner, the Comedy Central one, and people, it was right, like in the same, breath, basically. It happened almost right afterwards, and maybe a month, not even. And people were still like, "Can we laugh? Is it okay to laugh?" Well, you're not laughing at the event. It was you're laughing. It's just going back to normal, and you're trying to get back to normal to regular broadcasting, but. That was part of it. That was the interesting part. That's where the infamous aristocrats joke being thrown in by Gilbert, and then just bombing and then digging himself a massive trench, then climbing out, which is fascinating. But then there was also the Bill Maher on Politically Correct, a guest of his that was due to come on the show died was in one of the planes, I believe, and so for the full week they left one of the chairs open that they normally would have a guest in for.
And then he got kicked off Politically Incorrect for his, remember he said that the people on 9/11 were brave.
Yeah, like the terrorists who actually went through with the plan, they're not cowards. Like you could say whatever you want, they're not cowards.
Yeah, he's not brave. He said they're not cowards. That's right. And everybody was so triggered about anything said bad about any of it that he was immediately canceled. And in retrospect,
well, it wasn't immediately. It was about 9 months later. But they decided, we're not going to.
Because he had the contract, but they were immediately. They said, "This is your last season."
I think that's pretty much it. And it was basically based on a DJ, kind of ramping it up. And he said that basically people were like, "Oh, I forgot to be offended. I'm sorry. How bad of me."
I also found it fascinating. David Letterman cried. And you never see that curmudgeon do anything that even resembles emotion. And when he cried, I remember being shocked.
You remember when Norm did his last stand-up on the last Letterman show?
Oh, yes, of course.
And it was you couldn't help but be moved by that, by his emotional outburst.
I got choked up so bad that my throat hurt because I didn't want to cry. But
also because this isn't, like this doesn't happen with Norm. Norm doesn't well up. He doesn't get choked up, whatever. And then Letterman was such a cold fish going over. It was like he was consoling someone whose team had just lost a game.
It was strange because that reaction from Norm, I thought from what I saw once during 9/11, that Letterman might react the same way, but he was so awkward about it. I mean, he was sweet, but he was awkward.
Very awkward.
I still was so emotional for how Norm was reacting, and now in hindsight, do you think maybe he knew about his own mortality at the time?
Hard to say. Maybe he had a scare. Inkling? Yeah, maybe it was. I think it was a legit. This was my dream was to get on the Letterman show, and I did.
It was so. You know how people always do great acting, like the last episodes of Carson or Letterman or Leno, and the people come on the show and you could tell it's just phony, or you could just tell they're overdoing it. Norm was the complete opposite. It was totally genuine.
Yeah, it was the equivalent of Jimmy Stewart reading the poem about his dog and Johnny Carson wiping away tears because he was just it was Jimmy Stewart, Jimmy Stewart crying on stage reading about a pet that passed away, and it was truly touching, and it was one of those iconic moments that you would never be able to manufacture in a million seasons of Gilmore Girls. You know what I mean?
Which is why I think we should do the 9/11, because I think there's not a lot of moments that you can manufacture like that again.
Well, we'll throw it out to you guys. You guys have your say, yay or nay. We'll put up a poll and on the Facebook page as well as Patreon for people who are not subs, and let us know what you think, because it would, if it did happen, it would be quite a while away anyway. But we'll just have it added to the list if you guys want. So let us know.
Another slog.
Yeah.
Oh, the gutters are full.
Well, they didn't go while it was still storming?
Hell yeah.
Don't you have those things that you put over the gutters?
Those things don't fucking
work. Yeah. Those seem to work at my house.
Gary.
How would you know?
I was just gonna say that.
Wasn't Beth the one that had to get up on the ladder to retrieve the dead pigeon or something that was stuck in the eavesdrop?
He would never look at a gutter.
Gutter, Jesus.
I do know.
Have you been up on the ladder?
As a matter of fact, I wouldn't go up on the ladder. I'd get somebody to do it. I don't have to do that.
No, but I'm saying I have had that thing. They just don't work.
Right.
I put springs and I have all sorts of things, but when there's a lot of leaves.
Fascinating. All right, please, Gary, nobody cares.
Well, that's not true. You've been talking about it for 20
Gary,
minutes.
Please, I'm just trying to make plans for tomorrow. I don't have you in tomorrow. I got to find out who I can use here tomorrow to do the show. That's all. It's not meant as an attack. Please leave so I can talk to the people who will be here.
Please leave so you can stop counteracting my fucking my non-arguments with actual logic.
I blame Gary. You shouldn't have walked back in. You should have left. I would have put up the sign exactly how you said it. Fuck you. Bye.
Fuck you, Boff.
I've never gotten so much shit for not doing something that we don't know that I'm not doing
I'm
yet.
in a private meeting with Shuli and Fred and Benji.
Yeah, you know what?
You're not welcome. And Rob.
If Shuli's the future, have a party.
Okay.
Sweet home Alabama.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah, exactly.
You're making a
Attack
scene.
Shuli.
You're making a scene. It's getting ugly.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Get more airtime. Leave your 2-year-old behind.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
Howard, I just wanted to let you know that I have tickets for Kimmel tomorrow, and I will be there if you will be there.
No, you can't depend on me for that. All right. Thank you. I mean, I'm just honest.
Oh, you are?
So mad at me.
I mean, why? What did you do wrong?
I don't know.
I asked him if he's going to be here.
You look like the shoe bomber.
God damn you. Now I'm actually going to look it up and see you do a comparison side by side. Well, either way, Shuli, who's, practicing I found whatever clothes I found on the floor, picked them up, put them on, went to work. I mean, he really just should have a fucking shirt on that says douche hair.
Flat brim douche.
Yeah, big time.
I said yes to the question you asked me. That's what I did.
So silly. All right, you know what we ought to do, Robin, so Gary can get home?
Yes.
Let me take a break, and you should start the news so we can get out exactly at 10.
All right.
I'm just worried about him getting home.
Well, if the wind blows,
goodbye, Mary.
It could mean the trampoline. It could mean the rain.
It could jump on that trampoline.
Mary, the flooding is occurring. You must. I'm going to take this piece of wood. You float on it, and I'll die.
And do you picture Robin's assistant, one of her slaves in there with like their hand on the microphone? There's no microphone stand. It's actually someone holding it to her mouth.
I picture somebody like opening up the computer for her.
Yeah. Totally. What's this button do?
I will go. My face will turn blue.
I'll stay in the water while you stay on the wood.
Gary, lay on my teeth and you won't drown.
Gary, stop eating the wood with your teeth.
No. Mary, pull out my teeth and float on one of.
Stop eating the wood with my teeth. And by the way, again, flying too close to the sun as your teeth almost chip the microphone, douche.
My enormous
My teeth are like the iceberg.
They're a flotation device.
I don't know how long you'll last, but on my teeth, you could float forever.
I'll be fine here in the water.
Imagine he pulled out his teeth.
Howard, your teeth, Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio would have survived in the final scene.
When he was drowning in the Paramount swimming pool.
I'll never let go. Don't worry, you don't have to. Look at this fucking amount of teeth.
Yeah.
Fake chompers.
Mary escapes.
With his George Washington-esque bridge work.
Yes, and we have a pillow.
Because it's like one of those foam little surfboard things.
Surf to Florida on my teeth.
I was thinking about this just the other day. Remember, I guess like a lot of swimming pools now, what's more modern now is those noodles, those big like floating noodles.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're multicolored, whatever, like fluorescent. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking there's no bigger there's no bigger ass fucking to the environment than those fucking noodles. Those noodles are basically going to Mother Earth.
Going?
They're going to Mother Earth and fucking bukkake-ing all over her. Those things.
I always wonder too, like where those. Remember, everybody big screen TVs were half the size of your living room width-wise. Yeah. No where kidding. Do those go?
I guess the 17 Squabble Lane.
You are bored with this subject.
Lucas, you surf on my other tooth. Mary, you take my two front teeth are my largest.
And I imagine Howard's got a room with just those TVs and every single video of him of AGT dancing on the screen, like constantly on a rotation.
Those were probably in his parents' house forever. He refused to replace them.
No kidding, yeah.
Put Murphy on the molar.
Bye.
What about the cats?
So sad.
Cats hate water.
My side teeth will support the cats. And Murphy.
Don't forget my lips. We
Cut my lip off as an inner tube.
Cut off my lips and float down the tsunami.
What's that expression? By your silence, you give express consent.
Well, I don't know, like
Gary's
silence
basically
is everything.
He could, if he left, there's the joke's done. Like they can't, like you're mocking the wind basically.
Yeah, and it becomes less and less funny because you sound like a bully.
Right. Then you post a video of yourself, if you're Bowie, on your easy chair eating popcorn while the show's going on. And you just like have the sound, like just literally him eating whatever black and white cookies, relaxing somewhere while they're at work.
Well, because the main person who's supposed to drive the funny for this bit to keep going is Shuli. How's that going? You know, you need Artie to keep this going. Like, remember when he was making fun of Mike about the Disney World bit? It kept going and going and going and taking new roads. It was fantastic, but he did that with so many people. And so did Jackie. And so did Billy. This is embarrassing.
Well, think of when George, sorry, I was just thinking, what's not George K? When Benji was talking about Ivy Supersonic, and they just started coming up with fat names for celebrities, and Artie just kind of kept riffing like George Ballooney, Fat Damon, all these things. He's Hugh Hefner.
Again, though, Shuli doesn't have that ability. So he's going to sit here and he has the swagger like he's one of the boys. He's in. It's his seat.
Yeah. I'm in, bitches.
Goodbye. I love you.
He was replaced faster than after the plane crash for Leonard Skinner.
Oh, man. We're alternating our militant Southern rock listener base. Oh, man.
You more than Howard.
You mean more to me than my job.
I told Howard I love you more, even though he didn't ask.
He said, he asked me if he could depend on me, and I said, no.
He wouldn't even say no. Just started yelling at him.
I don't have choices.
Like you. You have staff.
Oh my God! Look at Shuli. Shuli thinking, playing with your hands, twiddling your thumbs. You're slow, bro.
Well, is it? That's strictly nerves, isn't it?
It's not comedic timing.
God, no. God, Artie, the sum of Artie's wit. I can think about, like, there's a million examples of Artie being so funny, and Jackie, obviously, and Billy, when they were in. But the beginning of the bro fight, when Artie's not saying anything, Bowie goes in. He's like letting them kind of like shadow box themselves to death. And Bowie goes in and goes, when we had you, when you felt up Carmen Electra's tits, did you think that was helping a brother out? And he's going, yeah. It's just because he hadn't said anything. And it was like, finally there was something funny. And it was one word from one person.
And I know we nobody agrees with Kumia's politics. Totally understand. He had the same sort of timing where it was once he's gone, that's missing from the show. You don't have that. He has lightning wit speed. I'm talking about the O&A days.
Yes, and there's talent. We can separate talent from the person who's making these horrible, and now he's really gone off the deep end, really making some really racist, I think, tweets. It could be Instagram, but I think it's Twitter. I had to unfollow him because I did not want to be associated with anybody who's going, like, he's using the initials were MFN, like motherfucking N, like the N words. He was saying it's I have the post somewhere. It was the Compound Media.
Even Nick DiPaolo. I was like, what is happening?
Like, guys, like, Jesus, well, what the fuck? I mean, I guess, some of these people that's always been in them.
Nick DiPaolo says some funny shit, and I like his sense of humor, but it becomes like, why just attack? I don't understand why you can't just get back to being funny about everything.
Everything. That's right. Left, right, whatever. All of a sudden it has to be injected with politics, like almost crowbarred in. Not almost. It is crowbarred in.
All the time.
Yeah. And I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of a political comic. I grew up with loving political comedy, and the answer is never. Yes. I enjoyed when politicians or like political figures were made fun of. And Carson used to do that perfectly. He insulted the right and the left equally. And I miss those days. So not just Carson, but comics. Like if there was a fucking, like when Bill Clinton was busted for, getting a blowjob in the office, why wouldn't you make fun of him for that?
Of course. I know. I can't imagine that this time is any more stressful than times during, I don't know, the Vietnam War or, I mean, what? Just like lighten up, everybody.
Rickles busting on Reagan. He goes, "You can be like Reagan, huh?"
I know, but we need those people who are brave. Like we need those people right now who are
fearless.
Give two shits, fearless. Rickles, Carlin.
Yeah. What was the expression you used? Saying truth to power.
Truth to power all the time. And it goes for everyone. Call them the Uniparty. Everybody deserves a fucking knock.
Yes, I think so.
Shuli got his staff together and they're going to watch your house.
My staff.
Fred, I guess your staff will be on it.
I guess so.
All right.
Hold on. My God, I have to get a screen cap of that. Hold on, let me see this.
Fred, I guess your staff will be on it.
I guess so.
Just right. Check this out.
Oh my God. He looks like he was carved out of a tree by a 5-year-old. You ever see those tree faces that you can like put the eyes and the nose and the mouth?
I can put Dorothy and Toto walking up through the tree, walking through the forest, and shove this picture in there. It'll fit right in. Fuck's sake.
Why are you taking my
You have
apple?
staff and choices. Yeah. I have no choices.
You're looking at the staff sitting right here.
I'm a pauper.
Yeah.
Benji, you have your staff taking care of things
Why
at
do I
home?
hear
Oh, that they're playing Celine Dion. My Heart Will Go On in the background.
Oh my God.
Good thing you had to have that joke explained to you. That's how funny the show was at this point. You needed a fucking annotation.
Even I made the Winslet reference, but it was about his chompers. It had nothing to do.
Yeah.
Elisa.
What's that? Yeah?
Yeah.
Gonna leave Elisa home alone and then your staff will watch over her.
It's people.
Right. Mary, my teeth. Pull it out with a pliers. You'll live and I will die.
Fred's fucking up the sound so bad that you hear a karaoke version of My Heart Will Go On, and in the background you could hear, yeah. Like, what is happening? You're playing both at the same time. One is in the low background where it's like it's in your backpack and you're not sure if you let your CD player Discman on.
I think sometimes when you get the Howard TV version of whatever clip it is you're listening to, and you get just the audio, there was a difference. They had to insert other music to avoid copyright infringement.
They're superimposing two songs at the same time and nobody's noticing. Right.
So I don't remember listening to the audio because I tuned out the show at this time. But then when I saw this, I noticed that and I go, and they used to do that a lot of times when, remember when Artie did his admission on the air that he was, And then Howard goes over to console him and Fred plays an instrumental. On the real show, I think it was a Van Halen song, but on the Howard TV show, it was just some unnamed instrumental, which actually a nice piece of music. I wish I knew where it came from. But it obviously was like, we're not going to pay Van Halen a nickel for this.
Never. Cover lover. Benji is very silent. You are correct. And they're not engaging with him on purpose because now that I'm seeing the outlay of the studio with him right next to Shuli, wouldn't you feel judged if you're not jumping in? So if you've ever been a part of a mean girl fight, or if you've ever been a part of a sassy lunch table or mean lunch table, you know that the people who are silent and not saying anything while shit's going down, that they don't agree with it.
More or less, yeah. I mean, honestly, when Artie would not talk during the what was it? The Scott Einziger farewell, for so long
Sussy.
farewell, and Sussy, and well, he wasn't there for Sussy, but he was there for that one, and he was there for Stuttering John, and you barely heard a peep out of Artie in even a half hour's time.
Yeah, he didn't say anything about that. And what was the other one he didn't say anything about? Doug with the chair, the Goodstein.
Doug Goodstein. Yeah, well, somewhere near the end, he goes like, dude, are you really, I think you're making a little too much of this. But that was about it.
But it took a while. When Artie was ready to go, it was there for the whole thing.
But it depended on what he was interested in, partially, and then the other things. It was like I know for a fact I'm not going to be welcome in this conversation because A, I have a dissenting view, and B, there's no reasoning with this asshole when he gets like this. You just need to let him punch himself out.
Same with the Ralph stuff. When it came to Ralph, if it didn't directly involve him, he wouldn't say much.
Right. But if you were going to throw stuff in his face you're talking about the stealing money thing.
Yes.
Well, then that was one of the best. That's still one of my favorites.
Like,
and then
why would you involve me?
Yeah, exactly.
But my teeth will have done good for man.
My teeth will go on and on.
I think I'll ride out this storm in my man cave.
One tooth for you, another tooth for Lucas and Murphy, and the two cats will be on my side teeth.
This isn't even in like
the right key.
Your tooth. Try to sing in the same key as the song. He's just mumbling.
There is no try.
There is no try. You're right. What song?
It sounded like they were playing some show tune and trying to, have you ever tried to sing a song while some other song is playing? It's almost impossible.
It is.
Yeah, I've tried. I mean, my God, my wife had, what was the one that who's the one that sings, let me go to work. I can't remember who sings that, but anyway,
Rihanna.
It was a Rihanna. Okay, my wife had that on, and I just decided to do some Sinatra over top of it to fuck with her because I hate this. I like Rihanna. I think she's talented, but I hate that fucking song. So she's like, "You're ruining it." No. Trust me, I'm improving this piece of shit.
Me as an orphan and Annie for the play. So her and her friend slept over, and I said, "Oh, Alexa, play Hard Knock Life," meaning like so they could practice their thing. They were ready to do the choreography, and it was the Jay-Z version, and they looked at me horrified. Totally horrified.
Well, it's probably the same way when P. Diddy did that the tribute to Biggie. And he took the Police song and Every Breath You Take and fucking just completely ass fucked it. I remember
he's still milking that after he killed his baby mama.
No kidding, yeah.
Forever.
Goodbye, teeth.
Goodbye, my teeth.
Can I tell you something that has to do with this, but not directly with me? DePace just called. And he wants to put on the air that he was ordered to stay home.
Ordered? By who?
He's very upset. I guess I don't know. He just said he wants you to know he was ordered to stay home.
Well, you know what? That's Doug.
Gary, you do know because you've been told many times that it's separate.
Yep.
So
and you guys want it that way.
So I don't know. Well, Howard, you don't want the responsibility, like we said, of running Howard TV or paying them or giving them benefits or giving them anything, retirement, whatever. So shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Goodstein, I'm telling you, Doug Goodstein wrote me last night. Like I'm in the middle of 20 things and I get this text.
He was in the middle of nothing. 20 things is nothing.
20 things. Are you Fillmore? 20 things.
I was in the middle of ignoring 20 things, more like.
Have you ever, even as busy as any of us can get, 20 things?
I have a hard time focusing on one thing in general. And I imagine Howard's much the same. I imagine he looks at a light switch and goes, "No, this is interesting. Up, down. Which one do I want? Let's see. Dark outside.
Just the amount of things you do to get out the door, like scrape off your windshield, start the car, make sure lunch is packed, make sure, don't forget your sneakers. It's gym day.
Don't forget your keys, shoehorn, everything. Did you bring this? Do you bring extra cable? Do you have your phone charged? Now these days, every year adds another extra fucking 4 steps before you leave the house.
Listen, and I have it pretty much down to a science, but again, it's us doing it ourselves. This guy has more help.
It's exactly like that clip from Casper.
It is. It's the get it up and at 'em chair.
You got it. That's it. Exactly.
The in-demand offices are closed tomorrow. And that has nothing to do with our show, nothing to do with me.
Yes, it does, because they film you.
If it has nothing to do with you, then why do you care?
And why do you bring it up?
This guy sounds exactly like I was at a bachelor party when I was a longshoreman. This Cuban guy was drunk sitting right next to me, and this ugly stripper was giving me a lap dance. She put her spread ass right in my face, and this Cuban guy kept going to me, Artie, eat the spider. Eat the spider. Eat the barking spider. I mean, like he was possessed by something. And we were like, dude, what are you talking about?
El Creepo.
What's the spider? He's like,